What's up, guys? How are y'all this morning?
We're doing well. Hey, are you going to go to the protest, the Will Wade protest at 2:30 today in front of Mathern's by LSU?
I got my form of protesting when I went Saturday to LSU Vandy,
Yeah.
and I think I'm hashtag out. I don't think I need to unprison since I guess Will Wade and Javonte Smart are in jail.
Yeah,
Apparently.
yeah.
I don't think they necessarily need to be freed, but yeah, I think I'm going to pass the protest.
What a wild situation Saturday. But Larry, what I want to talk to you about, I want to talk to you about the New Orleans Saints NFL free agency beginning tomorrow. I mean, basically, for all intents and purposes, kind of begins yesterday. So big names already off the board. Saints not doing anything yet. A couple little signings with Banjo and Robertson. But what do you think the Saints' overall guiding philosophy is going to be during this period?
Well, they can't spend too much, so that's one. And I know Saints fans get frustrated, and they express this on Twitter. Why aren't we going after C.J. Mosley? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Well, do you see the money that's being spent?
It's crazy,
and it's crazy money. And let's not forget, the Saints last year, they may have technically, in a sense, spent a little more than maybe they wanted to on Demario Davis, but they didn't break the bank at all by any means. And Demario Davis was the best free agent pickup of the entire NFL last year,
Wow.
in my opinion. And so just because you're not diving in, don't forget Jarris Bird. Don't forget Kobe Fleener. A lot of times when you dive in and you're just jumping into a waterless pool sometimes.
Visiting with Larry Holder. Larry, what are the Saints going to do with Mark Ingram on this team?
I think that's still a question mark for them, and that's what kind of this negotiating period is all about. I can tell you, when I was up in Indy, the number I was hearing that basically shooting for the stars, they were looking for $7.5 million per year. That's what they feel like his value is.
That's Ingram. Ingram's side wants 7.5 per year.
Well, I'll just say someone who's familiar with talk.
Sheesh.
Put it that way. But I think that's all right. Let's shoot for the stars. I think they know that's not going to be realistic. But if you put that price tag to teams who actually have a ton of money to spend, maybe they bite. But I don't think the Saints are going to bite that way. I still think ultimately that he comes back. But I can't blame a guy if someone wants to pay big bucks for him. Probably the last significant contract of his career. I wouldn't blame him at all. I'm all for a player maximizing his value every day of the year in the NFL.
Yeah, look, it's too short-lived not to. The Ingram situation to me is just interesting because, he brings a lot of kind of locker room and chemistry leaders, like some off-the-field stuff that maybe doesn't translate to stats that the Saints would at least value. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. We're talking to Larry Holder at Larry Holder on Twitter. Kind of the overall needs. Where do you think, like you said, they're going to be value players, but what position groups, what moves do you maybe see the Saints looking to make over the next few days?
Well, if Ingram's gone, running back is an immediate need. They need a complement, so that's important. Wide receiver, I knew they were interested in Adam Humphries, but they looked at him, again, this is probably low point, but they looked at him as a $5 million a year player. He's getting $9 million a year on average with his contract, so they weren't going to hit that ceiling, but feel like a receiver would be nice. Tight ends a need. I don't think they should fill it in free agency. I think they should wait to the draft. Defensive tackle, you got to look there with the injuries and potential exit of Tyler Davison, who's also a free agent. Defensive end, what do they do with Alex Okafor? If he leaves, you probably need a viable option to kind of be a rotational guy still at this point with Marcus Davenport as they wait for him to develop. So, there are some needs that are out there. Where they find them, and the Saints, if they want to spend, they can. They just got to make the room. And they would be open to making room. But as of this point, they haven't done it yet, and so we're all curious to see which direction they go.
Cam Meredith's status with the Saints. You mentioned needing another wide receiver. What's kind of their view on what his future with the team's going to be?
I think it's cloudy at best. He cost $6 million against the cap this year. 1 year left in his deal. And he really did nothing for you last year. Yeah. And you trust that he can come back. And if you cut him, you're going to eat some money, but you would save about 3.7. If I were the Saints and there's a receiver I'm interested in, I would be willing to eat $2 million of his contract and use the other part of that money and go buy someone who you think can play. So, look, to me, he would be a prime candidate where if there's a guy they want, they cut him and create money and go make it happen with someone else.
One very sexy name that is out there is Justin Houston. Or I guess I mean sexy in that like it's recognizable. How what do you think Houston commands on an open market? Could the Saints get in that, or it's going to be priced out?
That's I don't know. I'm curious because he obviously is coming off of a gigantic contract with Kansas City, but they let him walk, and so what is his price tag? He's had kind of his ups and downs up there. I mean, there's a reason why they let him walk, and so it depends if they feel like they can get Alex Okafor cheaper than him. I'm sure they would rather have Alex Okafor, but the future's Marcus Davenport. And they hope it's the present, but you just need someone. I think they need to. They can't. If Justin Houston's going to ask for too much money to move on, I mean, you don't waste your time with that.
I agree. There you go. At Larry Holder, Jeff and Kinner wants to tell you that you have great hair, Larry, and from all of us here at OTB,
fact.
we agree. We agree.
This is a fact. Jeff and Kenner know.
All right, Larry. Thanks, man. At Larry Holder, catch him at The Athletic. New Orleans does great work there. You have a great day, Larry. And we'll be back. Hour number 1 wrapping up here on OTB. We got OTB mailbag coming up. So go ahead, get in that huddle. Hashtag OTB mailbag. Get your questions in.